is, I'm a family guy. I'm a family man. What that translates to is I'm a mama's boy and I'm looking for a replacement to my mummy. What is up, people? Welcome back or to another video. To those who have been subscribed from day dot, thank you so much for believing and supporting this channel. For those of you who are new around here, I'm Jade and I am definitely that bad influence that your mother warned you about growing up. This was a requested video and it's kind of like a follow-up from the previous video I've done about societal scripts and lies which influence women's lives in their 20s. If you haven't watched it already, I'm gonna link it down below in the description box. This can also be in your 30s and beyond. Now, one thing I definitely do remember from that video is how many triggered men were in the comments talking about how it's so-called dangerous advice to give to younger women about the lies that society feeds us through like books and films and stories, and how we're always sold a fairy tale so we can be compliant enough to do whatever it takes to get to said fairy tale. Now, the only reason I can think that men would say that is because women are now getting so much smarter with so-called societal scripts, with all the bullshit that we're sold, with dating and marriage, etc., that they're actually choosing to be single. There is a reason why women are waking up, and they are waking up a lot earlier than previous generations of women, where they were taught to just push through really hard relationships, really hard marriages, and basically tolerate disrespect. But now that the younger generations are like, no, fuck that shit, I'm not groveling like my parents and grandparents did, men are now fucking freaking out because this basically threatens their whole existence. They forgot to mention that there are a whole load of bro podcasts out there which are basically advising younger men to hate women for absolutely no fucking reason. Whereas what I'm doing, speaking about what I've learned in my own personal experience so that someone could use it potentially as a guide. I'm not out here telling someone actively to hate men. If you actually talk to a lot of women these days, they'll tell you that for free anyway, with or without my videos. What you'll find in today's society is a lot of women stepping into their power much earlier on in their lives. We used to see women really stepping into their confidence and power, say in their 40s and 50s. And now it's starting to gently become a little bit younger as time goes on. And as women become more educated, more financially independent, and they have a lot more choices in life. So a lot of them, when they do step into that power, they choose singlehood. They choose to not date, not be in a partnership, not want to be in a marriage. But one thing I've noticed is that the religious content starts to increase. I find that religion is just used as a tool to fearmonger and to control people. And if you look at any religion, pretty much, they always put men on a pedestal. So religion in its history has only ever benefited men. It's put men on a pedestal, it's made men the center of universe, and it's made women center men. But now that's starting to fall apart, where we're seeing an increase in a lot of women decentering men and of course centering themselves, which is also causing men to fucking lose their shit. Here's how to deal with this kind of shit, and I really wish somebody had told me this in my 20s. Firstly, give yourself grace to the person that you are becoming and the person that you are now. Your 20s are so transformational because you are going through so many major changes in your life. I mean, your prefrontal cortex in your brain is not even fully developed yet until you're around your mid-20s. The part of your brain that is responsible for decision making and planning and your behavior and your emotions isn't even fully developed yet. Our personalities change a lot throughout our 20s, our 30s and 40s, simply because it's built not just from environment, but from our own personal experiences as well. Whatever you do, always try to be as true to yourself as you possibly can. And that goes for anyone at any stage of their life. Being true to yourself can look like a lot of different things, but for the context of this specific video, I'm going to talk about being true to yourself is the kind of decisions you want to make in your life. You might not want to get married, you might not want to have kids, and you might want to walk away from religion if you've been raised around, religious people all your life, or a religious town or city or country or whatever. You might be starting to step away from that on the basis that you're trying to figure out what you believe in and what aligns correctly with you and your own belief system. Having autonomy is becoming more and more popular with the younger generations because it's something that the older generations definitely lacked. it's simply because they didn't know any different and they didn't think to stand up for themselves and be their own person. And they were terrified of judgment and what people would say about them. Whereas now with the younger generations like Gen Z, they're a lot more for authenticity and for autonomy and making their own decisions and having boundaries. And to a lot of other people, that looks like a personal attack. So having autonomy, you might not be the most popular person in the world because autonomy triggers those people who don't have the courage to make decisions for themselves and their own bodies and their own lives. A lot of people who were kind of coerced into parenthood, coerced into religion, a lot of them are simply parroting what they've been told on the basis that it's the path of the least resistance. It's the path that they're gonna be most comfortable on, but the one where less people are going to challenge them about. I always think of the quote, and I'm going to put the guy's name down below because I can't pronounce it, but he has a really interesting saying, and that is hard choices, easy life, easy choices, hard life. For example, people who conform and they simply just do the status quo because that's the done thing, and deep down they're like, don't really want this, but hey ho, everybody else is doing it. You'll find that they've made an easy choice, but later on down the line, they have a harder life. And what I mean by harder life is deep down, they're usually unhappy, or they're bitter about something, or they have regrets about not doing X, Y, and Z, etc. Now, when you make harder decisions, for example, stepping away from religion that you've always known your whole life, or deciding you don't want to date, or you don't want to marry, or you don't want to have kids. These go against the grain. They go against those societal scripts. So of course, these are going to come with pushback and resistance because you're doing something that is, not quote unquote normal by society standards. So you're going to get pushback. You're going to get people getting triggered around you. You're going to get people questioning you. They're going to try and put the fear of God in you, which is what we hear a lot as well. Now, this might be a hard choice because somebody might initially not want to walk away from their family, or they might not want to walk away from religion. That's not exactly an easy choice. It's a hard choice on the basis that it's not the status quo, but these people tend to have not so much an easier life, but an easy one in regards to their authenticity and being true to who they are. They don't need to wear a mask. They don't need to pretend. That is what I mean by easy life. Most exhausting thing in my head that I've never understood is having to get up every morning and wear a mask and play house and pretend that you're really happy. Unless those things make you happy naturally, then so be it. I am adamant this is why there are so many divorce cases now, because so many people just marry because it's the done thing, because it makes them look good, or because they think they're missing out on something. Why do you think so many people cheat? Because they're not truly happy. They've just taken the path of least resistance. They've just picked any old person that's paid them 5 seconds of attention. Let's quickly get married, have kids, do the 2.4 picket fence life. Halfway down the line, not even that, some people cheat on their partners when the baby's on the way. Like, they're not even waiting for the baby to be born and they're already fucking cheating on their partners. Why do you think people do this? You would not need to cheat if you were happy, period. Next point, and this one's harder than it sounds, but stay grounded. And what I mean by that, because it's thrown around a little bit too much on social media, is stay in the present moment. I wish I had spent more time doing this, not just in my 20s, but I think I've only just started doing this now in my late 30s, and I wish I hadn't wasted all those years worrying about shit that I have absolutely no control over and which might not happen. Because let's be honest, whether you're 25, you're 55, you're fucking 85, no one is promised tomorrow. So you sitting here at the age of 25, 26, 29 going, oh, what if, is a fucking waste of time. And I understand that it's easier said than done. But staying grounded and just finding joy in this moment and finding things that make you happy and make you feel good in this moment right now is the only moment you have. I spent too long in my 20s worrying about career and what if I'm not at the top of the ladder, what if I'm not financially secure, etc. And for what? Find things that make you feel good. Find things that ground you in that moment, that calm you down. It could be a hobby, it could be an interest, it could be joining a a sports team. It could be, I don't know, like doing pub quizzes. These are going to keep you in this moment right now and keep your mind off 10 years time, which actually brings me perfectly onto my next point, and that is work on yourself. And I don't just mean physically or aesthetically, although those can work too. They can make you feel amazing, but work on yourself in all ways possible. Build knowledge, find interests, have hobbies outside of your work and studies. Anything that I personally pick things that are gonna build on my character, not just challenge me, but also relax me as well. I don't want to make my job my whole identity, because I've made that mistake in the past and I was absolutely miserable. All I could think about was my career and who I was in my career, and I couldn't separate my identity from career to outside of my career. Always work on knowledge, skills, anything like that. Learn another language, learn another skill. If you want to repel ignorant and weak people out of your life, build on your knowledge, your character, your interests, your hobbies. Build on these as much as possible, because there is nothing that irritates an ignorant, weak as fuck person more than somebody who's confident, knowledgeable, has autonomy, knows who they are. If you don't want them in your life, be knowledgeable, be happy, be confident, work on yourself. Because do you know what this also shows? This shows discipline. This shows discipline and self-respect. If you work on yourself in any way possible, this person respects themselves. This person knows who they are, they're disciplined, and they know how to stick to something. There is nothing a weak and manipulative person hates more than coming across someone who has self-discipline and self-respect, because they can't get their way with them. I noticed this in my late 20s when I first started going to the gym properly. Now, throughout my adolescence and 20s, I was a dancer. I was a competitive dancer, so I was always kind of like in shape anyway. But in my late 20s, I decided to up the game a little bit and start going to the gym and doing like serious gym workouts. I remember someone around, or people around me, being like, oh, you're so vain. Oh, what are you going to the gym again for? I found it a bit challenging because it wasn't like dancing. I found it very masculine because up until that moment, I had been a ballet dancer, a Latin dancer, a ballroom dancer, constantly with glitter and fucking sequins in my hair and makeup. Yeah, I don't really want to be in a gym lifting weights. It was very different for me. So in the beginning, I'll be honest, I fucking hated going to the gym. And then it hit me. You're pissed off because I'm trying something. I'm attempting to be uncomfortable, which shows characteristic, which other people without character don't like. Eventually, I started really getting into my gym and my running, and I started becoming more confident, and I started feeling better in myself, my energy, everything. And people started to notice this, and let me just say, they weren't always very happy about it. And this can happen across the board with partners, with family, with friends. For me, it was with work colleagues. They literally used to always be like, oh, you're so vain. What, you think you're something really special now? And yada yada. For anyone who's starting out in their fitness journey, or you're in your very early stages of your fitness journey, let me tell you, you're probably going to hear the comment at some point, you don't need to do that. You're fine the way you are. Now, this might be well intended, but I find that this comment comes from people who are very worried that you're suddenly going to start becoming a better version of yourself. You're going to start feeling more confident in yourself. You're going to maybe start wearing more revealing clothing. And let me tell you, this person is a hater, and they don't want you being more confident or better than them in any way, shape, or form. The only people you should keep around you are those who are cheering you on. There should be nothing but cheers and support from the people around you. If not, put them in the bin. When you start working on yourself, you're going to start attracting a little bit of pushback, as mentioned before. My all-time favorite was, just wait until you're 30 and you're married and you have kids and your body starts going south. Then I hit my 30s and I did indeed get married. So what people started to do to me is they started going, well, wait until you're 40 or you hit menopause and all of this shit. It's always this wait until. It's always like you can't be celebrated for just being amazing, or for working on yourself, or for being committed to something which makes you happy. It's always just wait until. And one thing I will never forget being told from a male employee that I used to work with, this was about when I'd say I was about 26-ish. He said to me, it's okay now because you're young, but one day when you're in your 30s and you're married, he was like, you're gonna get real fat. And I have never fucking forgotten those words. And if you're the piece of shit who said that to me and who you remembers saying that to me and you're watching this video, I'd like you to know that my waist measurement is actually the same as it was the day you said that to me. And I thought I'd just run through a few pictures with you. So this is me when I was 25 years old. And this is me when I was 35 years old. Someone asked me for some dating red flags, so I'm gonna go through a few, which these are just in my personal experience. By all means, you're gonna have a very different experience to me. If you've come across any more yourself, just drop them in the comment section down below. I don't want you to take these as gospel. These are just ones I think are a red flag. I understand the dating pool has changed significantly since I was single and dating. I always say if I was single now, I would just not date. I have far too many prerequisites, more than I did 10, 11 years ago, which is even worse. So I think I'll just have to stay single. Oh, and for any chads who want to talk about the good old, this is why you're single, this is why you can't find a man, as if that hurts women's feelings these days. I am in fact married to my best friend. Thank you very much. We are about to celebrate our 8th wedding anniversary in Japan. But here we go. First and foremost, that is, I'm a family guy. I'm a family man. What that translates to is I'm a mama's boy and I'm looking for a replacement to my mummy. I ain't dating no fucking mama's boy. That is for fucking sure. Any kind of over complimenting or love bombing, I think this one is spoken about quite widely on social media. Anyone who loves you a little bit too much too soon. I hate fake compliments as well. And I find that if they're too early on, they're usually fake, or they're just waiting to see if you'll drop your guard down. Poor communication. Oh my God, I could not explain to you how much poor communication absolutely fucking enrages me. And a lot of people think that, you know, doing their communication like this, up and down, blowing hot and cold, is like a flex. It's not. Yeah, any kind of poor communication, breadcrumbing, anything like this. Anyone who sends me a message and it says, hey, and just hey, that's a fucking immediate block. Another major red flag, if they have kids in their profile picture. You are not finding me dating anyone with kids. But more to the point, why the fuck have you got pictures of your kids on a dating profile app? Really? Can you please get your kids off the internet, period? Because what the fuck? Now, this next red flag might sound really, really obvious, but I thought I would say it again. Any mention of religion, especially if you are trying to get out of religious coercion. The last thing you want is trying to form a relationship and trying to form boundaries with a religious person, because if you haven't watched my religious video, go watch it. But it's really hard to enforce boundaries with religious people. Next red flag, anyone showing off, being materialistic. So bragging about money, jewelry, watches, cars, major gag for me. Cannot fucking stand it. I hate people who are flashy to get attention from other people specifically. There's nothing worse than somebody who just needs to let everybody know that they have money all the fucking time. And then the same men complain, oh, she just wants my money, she's really materialistic. What did you think you were gonna attract with that kind of profile picture? Come on now, Chad. Let's be honest. You can't complain about attracting materialistic women if you're being materialistic yourself. That brings me on to my last red flag, major gag reflex, dried up fanny flaps, and that is car pictures. Don't even get me started. I don't want to see a picture of your fucking car. Why have you got a picture of your fucking car on your dating profile app? If I wanted to see cars, I would go to a car showroom. Why do you think we're interested in the car you fucking drive? It's probably not even your car. It's probably a fucking rented car because you probably can't afford it. Let's be honest. If you've joined for this long, thank you so, so much for joining. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Stay safe out there.